such glory, such grace, such revenue. If I could have but a drop of your holiness, a sliver of your inspiration, why, I'd make a video explaining how you reached such divine heights. Or maybe that's this video. Oh! Hey, I'm Grant. Unfortunately, I'm not as muscular as that beginning would have you think, but I'll be damned if I'm not philosophical, or at the very least analytical, about your deepest questions in gaming. I dive into a magnificent topic every Thursday, and I want to mention that our next video will have the deets on how to enter a super sweet giveaway. Check in next Thursday, you sexy beast, and find out how we can send you some love, as appealing as that sounds. And speaking of love, it's time to dive deep. And when I say deep, I mean deep. Today's the day we get to the bottom of why Five Nights at Freddy's and Undertale have resonated so intensely with us gamers. It is absolutely insane how much attention these franchises have gotten. YouTube careers have started and ended with the ebbs and flows of their popularity. Billions and billions and billions of hours have been spent analyzing, dissecting, and explaining the answers to the mysteries buried within these phenomenons. And you know what? I'm just the man to figure out why. Oh sure, there's the obvious explanations. The low-hanging fruit that countless voices have lazily plucked from the tree of Wikipedia. Undertale is good because its characters are original and its music is good. Five Nights at Freddy's is good because the atmosphere is scary and the gameplay startles you. Yeah, we get it. It's not wrong, but that's not why I'm here. Such gobbledygook only scratches the surface of these mind-exploding phenomenons. That's why I'm going straight to the roots, baby! So jump scare yourself into a coma, fill an entire swimming pool with determination and then drink it. And prepare yourself for a journey through Five Nights at Freddy's and Undertale that will leave you with a newfound appreciation of their brilliance. You'll only find this kind of brain porn in the story. You never knew. I have a confession to make. There's something I feel that needs to be addressed. You might think I don't read the comments, but I actually read almost all of them. Our whole team does, in fact. Your response to our latest Five Nights at Freddy's videos has been incredible, and with that response came a flood of questions that I'd feel bad not addressing. Like seriously, you guys are awesome. And kinda mean sometimes. So if you have any questions about Five Nights at Freddy's and what Treesicle has to say about it, leave them in the comments below and I'll address as many as I can in a video coming soon. Let's get this conversation started, gentle viewer. And now we get into it. In order to determine the root cause of the fascinating nature of these games, we must delve into the human psyche. So let us prepare the knowledge dildo and insert it into the orifice of critical thought to ascertain the psychological mechanism by which Undertale and FNAF intrigue us so. On the surface, Undertale and Five Nights at Freddy's look pretty standard in terms of how games go. Five Nights at Freddy's looked to belong to the uber-popular horror game genre that was taking over the internet via the likes of Slender Man and Amnesia. Undertale, on the other hand, was trying to capitalize on the resurgence of retro-style games. But both of these games had something different. Something that separated them from the rest. A sense that there was an underlying component outside of just jump scares and witty puns. An unshakable feeling that everything was not as it should be. There was a sense of uncertainty. But how does a sense of uncertainty drive an individual to obsess over these games on an almost biological level? The answer is via a basic human need, an instinct as embedded in the human consciousness as the need for birds to build a nest. And that's our need for a sense of control. Now, don't go yelling at your parents that Grant from Treesicle told you need to be in control. Because that is just the tip of the knowledge dildo. I said that we have a need for a sense of control, and that's just it. The need is for the sense, not the control. When we lack this feeling, we begin to experience the pressures of stress or anxiety. You've probably never heard of the Zeigarnik effect, which I probably butchered the pronunciation of, but it's a thing coined by scientist Bluma Zeigarnik that states we can't forget about something so long as it's incomplete. For instance, waiters will quite easily remember orders orders still in the process of being served, but once they are served, the waiters forget the order almost immediately. This feeling of incompleteness gnaws at us, keeps us thinking, and there's a reason why this is so incredibly uncomfortable if not addressed in a timely manner. This is uncomfortable because without this feeling's strong guidance, we wouldn't survive. Our subconscious mind gives us little jabs whenever we encounter some kind of danger. These little jabs are pre-programmed at birth through evolution. I mean, if you believe in that bullshit, humans coming from monkeys, where'd the monkey people come from, huh? Where'd they come from, huh, atheists? They're just a monkey themselves, huh? Yeah, atheists. Yeah, you might have heard of one of these little jabs, the fight-or-flight response, which basically determines if we face adversity head-on or run away as fast as we can. A sense of control is just another survival technique, but instead of helping to avoid certain death, it makes us feel safe. This feeling of safety is necessary because without it, how could we trust anyone or anything? Without the ability to trust the world and the people around you, your entire life would just be one long, flailing panic attack. So sure, this information could get you a passing grade on your Intro to Psych class, but how does all this psychological trust control stuff tie into FNAF and Undertale? Well, you see, any sense of control relies on an ability to understand. How can you feel like you're in control when you're painfully aware of how little you know about the situation at hand? The answer is that you can't, and Five Nights at Freddy's and Undertale know this all too well. Their ever-cryptic storyline leads us to watch one too many theory videos for getting to eat dinner because you needed to know why the purple man was innocent or why that flower is such a piece of shit. They tricked you. They used elementary psychology to fuck your brain up. They sucked you in and trapped you with their skeevy methods of bullshittery. Now I know what you're thinking, but Grant, I'm way too smart to get tricked. Don't worry, Treesicle viewer, I too got tricked. The question is how? They trapped us by giving us the illusion of control, then snatched it away from us with each new piece of information. Imagine a fisherman out on his boat. He casts out the line and gets a nibble. Reel it in too fast or too slow, and the fish has a chance to get away. It's only through this process of give and take that he successfully reels in the fish. In this example, the give and take is the information from the games. The creators are the fishermen, and we're the fish. And we got owned! We've been reeled in, and we flop. We flop on the poop deck helplessly. We think we can wiggle out of this, but the fisherman is the one in control. Scott Cawthon and Toby Fox held nothing back in the presentation of their games. In Undertale, Toby roped you in with some fantastic gameplay as you follow the journey of Frisk through the underground. Throughout the game, you are constantly given a choice, to kill or not to kill. That is the question. And your actions actually determine the outcome at the end. There are 21 different variations of the ending, and each one gives you a bit more insight into the story as a whole. Each ending answers some questions, while raising even more. There's never a distinct answer. Don't worry, Scott, I didn't forget about you. Scott Cawthon used a similar tactic in Five Nights at Freddy's. Right from the get-go, the viewer knows there is more to this game than meets the eye. When you start to play through the first game, you get sucked in through the stressful anticipation of an impending jump scare. But it's the story that keeps you involved, making you need to know why these animatronics are after you, and how you got to this place in the story. Each subsequent Five Nights at Freddy's release answered a few of the questions brought up in its predecessor, but always left more that needed to be answered. Really? They lay out a rug, let us get comfy on it, and then yank it out from under us. This happens over and over and over again. Got it? Yeah, I'm sure you do. Now that we've covered that fun bit of human psychology, why not delve into something related, but not quite the same? While our hatred of feeling vulnerable keeps us checking for answers to not feel a certain way, there's another aspect of these games that make us want to feel a certain way. And it's not something you'd expect. Have you ever noticed how dark Five Nights at Freddy's and Undertale really are? And I'm not talking about lighting, although that is technically true. According to what limited information I could find, the age of your average Five Nights at Freddy's or Undertale fan is noticeably under 18, and often under 15. That means the majority of people glued to their seats over these games are children and young teenagers. And yet, what do we see in these games? Children getting murdered and stuffed into these genocide runs where you slaughter everyone in your path. Even the king of the underground reels at how inhuman you've become. It's also dark, legitimately gross. And yet the youngest members of our society can't look away despite being just out of Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street territory. Undertale, of course, isn't all so dismal. There's the neutral run and the pacifist run to even things out. But let's take a look at what the people really want. What do we see when we do a quick search for Undertale Genocide Run and Undertale Pacifist Run? It's shockingly different. The Genocide Run easily breaks 1 million views for video after video, and yet the Pacifist Run gets nowhere near that level of interest. Maybe 600,000 for a video. Tops, with very few exceptions. There are channels with less than 10,000 subscribers who pulled in over 1 million views per video just by covering the Genocide Run. The people want blood. They want to stare into the abyss of darkness that many child-friendly games avoid entirely. I am aware that most of the biggest YouTubers covered the Genocide Run rather than the Pacifist Run, which could account for the stark difference in engagement. But why do you think the Jacksepticeye and the Game Grumpses of the world decided to become a monster in the first place? Because they wanted to see it for themselves and knew you would love it too. This phenomenon of staring into the abyss, we'll call it, is an odd one, and it goes deeper than why we love to feel scared by horror movies. We're not talking about mindless gimmicky violence for the sake of shock value and ticket sales. With Undertale's Genocide Run, we're talking about a genuine exploration of what happens when you remove your conscience from the equation and strive only for power. How do the characters around you react? And how do their reactions make you feel? You finally achieved a level of strength where no one could challenge you, where no one was a threat. Is it what you expected? Did the monsters begging for their lives along the way make you think twice about your quest? However you choose to answer these questions, there's no doubt that Undertale's Genocide Run captivated us and made us think about how fulfilling the quest for power at the expense of others really is. And don't forget, children are taking this in. I guess kids are smarter than we think, huh? Five Nights at Freddy's is hardly different. This ever-unfolding mystery involving terrifying animatronics and countless dead children makes us stare into the abyss for its own purpose. You'll probably agree that Elmo's letter adventure hardly captures the nuances of living in the real world, where children really do die sometimes and where things can go horribly wrong. Five Nights at Freddy's, in its own way, makes us grapple with these dark realities and find the elusive answers to why they occur. Who created these nightmarish robots? Why did these children have to die? Who's responsible for all of this? Maybe, just maybe, after hours and hours of searching, we'll finally know the answers to these questions. When the games we play choose to genuinely look into the abyss, we come out of them with a far more balanced perspective than when we only look at the happy or thrilling stuff. That may sound like an exaggeration, but it's not. It's really not. Being devastated that things aren't as magical as our entertainment would have us believe is common, but it will be less common when we choose to explore uneasy topics through our art, if you want to call it that. Five Nights at Freddy's and Undertale may dangle a carrot in front of us, but along the path of following that orange root on a string, we take in all the horror, all the real shit that these games have to offer. So don't be sad that you've been tricked all along. Be grateful. You've stared into the abyss and lived to tell the tale, if only in a video game. That's the story. You never know. Oh, did you want more? Well, the stash is all empty for new videos this week. But we'll have a new Story You Never Knew in stock next Thursday. It's gotta ship from a different location, so it takes a week. I'm sure you understand. And once that Thursday shipment comes in, it'll come with how to enter a giveaway on a game that'll tickle your fancy. Unless you have a bad taste in video games, in which case it won't. But what are you gonna do? What else? Oh yeah, comment your question down below for anything you want clarified about our mind-exploding FNAF theory, and I will do my best to address it in a video coming soon. A bold claim, I know, but I will deliver. I'll deliver it hard, but not too hard. See you next week.